Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing great things in the community for 60 years. We're here at the Jacobs Institute for Education, Innovation Education, here at USD's School of Leadership and Ed Sciences. The Institute is an R&D nonprofit institute powering inclusive innovation and leadership in education. I am joined by my co-host today, Elena Gomez. She is the Associate Director of Media Relations for USD and the co-host of her team's podcast, At the Edge of It All. How you doing, Elena?
Doing well.
Very, very good. Our guest is Dr. Alberto Pulido, Chair and Professor of Ethnic Studies at USD, Director of Turning Wheel, Vice Chair of the Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center. Dr. Pulido, what an honor having you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we're honored. Elena, you want to get us started?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Turning Wheel, your project here. This is a mobile classroom, and really the goal is to teach and serve the community is what you shared. What does that mean? What does that look like?
It looks like a 38-foot bus that is a classroom that I was able to acquire, I don't know what it's been now, 5 or 6 years. But the main objective is to do outreach in the community, to learn from the community, but then also for them to learn from us. And it's sort of a relationship. It's very organic, and it takes all kinds of different directions just depending on what people are looking for. Next week, we're heading to Santa Ana to a book fair. So that's another venue and another sort of way we put our bus together.
And you started this project. I'm sure you had a lot of help along the way. No? What inspired you to start this?
If you want to know the truth, I had a dream. And I believe a lot in dreams. And I just said to myself, okay, I woke up one day and said, let's get a bus. Didn't know what the heck I was doing. Had no clue. It was way above my pay grade. And it was a long story, but in the end, we found a company in Ohio that actually makes buses. They were averaging between $300,000 and $500,000. That was a little bit out of my range, but we were able to get a used bus. They worked with me very well, and voila, we have the Turning Wheel here at USD.
What does the bus look like inside for people who haven't seen it?
Well, it's a great question to ask because just this past week, we were able to get our flat screen in there, and now we have these incredible working tables that allow us to put art supplies and shirts and things away, but then it has a lip on it where we can get kids to sit around them. And it was just a blessing. I mean, there was a vendor. They thought it would work, and they're in there now. As of yesterday, they did the last drawer, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are some of the examples? You kind of mentioned this book fair, but what are some of the examples of what, where the Turning Wheel bus has been, where it has gone, and what sort of events you're sharing with the community?
We do a lot of work with the Logan Heights community in particular because of Chicano Park, but also because I have an active role in a new museum space by the Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center. But we have been to the South Bay. We have been to El Paso, Texas. We have been to Santa Barbara, California. Riverside, and as long as I have a driver and I have gas, we're ready to rock and roll. We only get 5 miles to the gallon, but that's the way it works. And so we've gone to several places and done a range of things.
So what's the focus? I mean, is it about culture? Is it about the arts? Is it about literacy? Is it about engagement? Is it all of the above?
All of the above, and I would say that if you were to see our logo, it is a intertwining of two lines, and that is a Mayan concept known as Olin, Olin means movement. So to me, the bus is a metaphor of movement, but it's also a metaphor of culture and history and tradition and art, because our philosophy is that without movement, we can't do any of this work in terms of our lives, in terms of who we are as people, in terms of the issues that we deal with. So we try to think of that in the projects that we develop. We just had 50 big shots from Caltrans come in, because Caltrans is very intimately tied to the park in terms of the freeway and in terms of the interstate. And they were very impressed, and we made it a point to sort of share with them some of the issues. And it was a venue at that level. So that was one thing that we did most recently. Right,
exactly. So do you work with kids K through 12, community college, 4-year school, everybody?
We've done all the above, but I would say more specifically with young people. And this year in the summer, we will be doing what we call Chicano Park Vive. And that's been very supported through the San Diego Foundation, monies from USD. And what we do, and this came right after the end of COVID, to get students really prepared to go back to school. I work in a community that has no Wi-Fi. So therefore, we had students who just had no access during the school period. So that was one of the projects we did, where we actually were able to buy a Wi-Fi device, so then therefore we could drive it into the neighborhood and get kids kind of hanging around it. And that worked for a while. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that in this project, we have 4 or 5 sessions during the summer, and we focus on different themes. We invite kids to come in, but the most important thing is we start a scholarship program. So they do anything from art to literature. We have judges, they get evaluated, and then at the end of that series, then we'll give them scholarships, bicycles, as a way to kind of move them to go back to school. And so far, it's been very, very successful.
Yeah, talks about some of the groups that you work with. You work with Barrio Logan College Institute. You work with the schools down there all over the county.
We have worked with BLCI in the past. What is happening now, because we've had the vision of a museum in that space for the longest time, and now we've been open for 3 months. So prior to the creation of that museum, in many ways, Turning Wheel was sort of serving as that hub. But now that we have bricks and mortar, I see a lot of the requests coming in through the museum, and then Turning Wheel sort of helping do that. I just had a situation 2 weeks ago in Canto School District, couldn't afford a bus. So one of the things is, let's take the bus to them, or let's try to raise money so that we can get them to come in. So it's a whole range of things, and we work with a lot of different schools, colleges, just depending on what's the issue. We've dealt with questions of gentrification. We've dealt with questions of environmental racism. We've dealt with questions of vaccinations. We vaccinated 1,000 people with our bus, which was really, really great.
No, you said that. That's terrific. Elena?
Yeah, it seems like with the bus is you're finding the need in the community, and the bus is sort of helping to serve that, right? It seems, I know you you work with the community. What is the need? Let me be there. We need Wi-Fi. The bus can serve that. And you need a school bus. The bus can serve that. How important is that to kind of listen to the community and have this program sort of help fill that gap when needed?
Well, I would tie it back to our curriculum program in College of Arts and Sciences. I was the person that came here 20 years ago to start an ethnic studies department. And a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what ethnic studies is, especially at the elementary level, and especially with the far right making all these accusations about the work we do. But what I would say to you is, at the core of our work is application. How do you apply work? How do you problem solve? You know, we have a situation where people cannot get a vaccination. How does that become a pedagogy? How does that become a form of education? Right now, I'm working with my kids as we're trying to deal with issues with some artists, and we're trying to document their history. We'll put them to work, and they're going to figure it out. So I would say that's a big part of it. And then another really big part of it is reciprocity. You always have to give back. I find higher education always takes, but they rarely give. And so therefore, then we have relationships that we establish. So it's not just Pulido coming down in the bus, but, you know, it gets redefined as the barrio bus. It gets all these different interpretations because it means something to the community.
How are you involving, you mentioned your classroom and having a new way of kind of looking at things and solving those problems. How are the students involved with the bus? in any way? Is that happening?
This semester, they're going to help me do podcasts because of our current art display. And what I'm worried about is I want to get those displays documented, because documentation is a big part of that. They're going to help me they're going to curate an art show in the bus on Chicano Park Day. Never done it. I've never done it. And we're going to figure it out. And so, and they're smart, they'll figure it out. And we get access. Our work is about creating webs of social relationships. So then they're going to have to talk to the elders who know how to do this. They're going to have to problem solve and figure it out, or talk amongst themselves, talk to me. I mean, I just see that's such an important part of what we do in higher ed.
We're chatting with Dr. Alberto Pulido, Chair and Professor of Ethnic Studies at USD, Director of Turning Wheel, and the Vice Chair of the Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We're listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union here at the Jacobs Institute for Innovation and Education at USD School of Leadership and Education Sciences, joined by my co-host, Elena Gomez, Associate Director of Media Relations for USD, and the co-host of her team's podcast, All the Edge of It All. Okay, now you tried to slip this by us over here, Alberto. You're going to do a podcast, huh? So are you doing it on the bus?
No, my kids are figuring it out. I came to find out that actually this stuff can now be done online. So I know nothing about it. It's way above my pay grade, but we're going to figure it out.
Good. Okay, so the kids will be doing it from your brick and mortar location?
Probably.
Okay.
We're going to figure it out on Sunday. We're all meeting down there at Sunday at 9 in the morning.
If you ever need some suggestions, we've only been doing podcasting for 17 years.
That would be great.
We're going to get it one of these days over here. I mean, I'll maybe getting it one of these days. That's to be determined over here. I've asked Elena to give me a full review of my performance today. So I've got I got a lot of skin, but I got very thick skin on this one. So I'll hear that. No, in all seriousness, we'd love to help you out.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a couple of things that come to mind. One, that we're here. This is how things always happen, right?
Absolutely.
You never know.
Absolutely.
Because I wasn't scripting this, and here we are. But secondly, see, what I think is the most important part of the value is the art space that's there right now. It was all created by community members. Within 6 months, it's going to be gone, and we're going to forget that story. So that's what my kiddos have to do, and they have to do one per art installation.
Right.
And so that's what I want. And then we want to be able to upload them, so then people can use it as work.
Right, exactly. I think what we're going to, have is my business partner, Charles Parisi, is hovering over us right now while he's not slamming things into walls and all that business. So we're looking at doing an audio bus ourselves.
Okay.
But that said, after the show is over here, I'm going to put you two together. We are setting up, and he's already been successful doing this for quite a while, student-run podcasts all over from San Pasquale Academy up in northern San Diego County to Jackie Robinson Y to Ehe Academy, and the kids are killing it. And so we are more than happy to give you our 2 cents, and you can give us change back.
That's fine. And, what I think this would tie back to our discussion is that we say that we are an anchor institution. And so therefore what that means is that the university is not just simply here in its presence, but that it's actually contributing. And we actually now have a brick and mortar space. So that changes things tremendously. The fact that we can tell our story, the fact that we're present. So therefore then the reason I raise that is because, then we can establish a relationship that goes way beyond Turning Wheel. It's actually the work that we're doing in our museum space. We're the only museum outside of Balboa Park. In other words, we're in the neighborhood, and it's a very important space. We worked 6 years to get it, and so therefore it reflects the community. Our first opening, we had 2,000 people, which says a lot in terms of people really want this kind of information.
Well, when you get that podcast all ginned up and everything else you're doing, it's going to be 4,000 people, and then it's going to be a lot more in that area. We're going to be right back with Dr. Alberto Pulido, Chair and Professor of Ethnic Studies for USD, Director of Turning Wheel, and the Vice Chair of the Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, joined by my co-host, Elena Gomez. She is the Associate Director of Media Relations for USD and the co-host of her team's podcast, At the Edge of It All. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and you're listening to another edition of Spotlight on the Community, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, continuing doing great things for San Diegans for more than 60 years. I'm joined by my colleague, Elena Gomez, Associate Director of Media Relations for USD and the co-host of her team's podcast, At the Edge of It All. We're here at the Jacobs Institute of Innovation and Education at the University of San Diego School of Leadership and Education Sciences. Absolutely honored to have on the show with us today Dr. Alberto Pulido, Chair and Professor of Ethnic Studies at USD, Director of Turning Wheel, and the Vice Chair of the Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center. Elena?
Yeah, Alberto, being a part of the community and all the work that you're doing out there, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing now that you've been out there with the Turning Wheel bus and just your work in the community? What are some challenges that people are facing that you're serving?
There are several. The ones that immediately come to mind that are currently on my radar is capacity building. How do we create leadership in a neighborhood that doesn't have resources? We have a lot of entrepreneurial spirits, but they don't have any money. If you drive down Logan Avenue and you see all the incredible businesses, 0 of those people own those properties. It's all absentee landlords. So we're talking about creating a trust so that then we can get engaged. We just heard the new a bill that was passed by the city council, where now if you're within a mile of the trolley, you can start to build upward, and it means you can build properties in the back of your house, which is a bad sign for Logan because the Barrio Logan stop is within steps from there, and it's just going to blow it up. We have the worst asthma for children in the entire state of California in Logan Heights. You know, nobody speaks about this outside of Logan. We are the 3rd highest rate of pollution in the city. We've been fighting Mitsubishi, who wants to come in and put their cement company and wants to bring in 150 semi-trucks. So there's no real thought beyond this area. So how do we start to educate people? We have no access to the water, unlike Coronado. We have the shipbuilding companies, we have NASCO, we have maritime industry, and we have the U.S. Navy. And all of that is tied to zoning, and it's tied to the history of that neighborhood. So those are 2 really big issues, and gentrification. So those would be the things on my mind: health, safety, police relations. And our museum, if you listen to carefully, it's Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center, because we don't have a high school in our neighborhood. So we want to have a cultural center so we can do things like teach people music and film and dance and the humanities, which are important to us and make us who we are, and tie it to the work that's going on there in the neighborhood.
What do you think needs to happen? The work that you're doing, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what are some things that people in San Diego could do to help with some of the issues that you mentioned?
I think the first thing would be to come to the park and come to the museum. I give 20 to 30 tours a month. I'm the person in charge of tours. I get people all the way from Austria, Palestine, Israel. And when I get the locals, they say, I always drive here, but I've never stopped. I hear that over and over and over again, and I don't know what that means. So when they stop, then they sort of awaken to what the space represents. The largest collection of outdoor murals that I know of anywhere, 108 murals, in response to a community that was going to be destroyed by highways. Then after that, go to the museum. It's cool. I mean, that would be the start. Let's leave it there. Because then I think we could wow people to the point that they would say, you know, this is some pretty interesting stuff. And get people involved and get them engaged. Little by little, but it's that's what I would say.
We went to the museum, my team, and it was incredible. It's very, very cool. Highly recommend it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you work with Perkins Elementary?
I'm not in a very direct way. No.
Right,
no,
right.
No, yeah. We are working with the new Logan. There's a new Logan. Let me get it right. Memorial Logan Academy. They're rebuilding the school. They only have it would be the first high school in the community.
Right.
They are starting with the 9th grade right now, and their first graduating class will be in 3 years. And in fact, right after this meeting, I'm going to meet with that team there in the museum.
Right. Now, is that near the middle school?
The middle school's gone.
So
it's all gone. It's the entire block.
Okay, good. All right.
They go from Montessori to college to 12th grade.
Okay.
Beautiful campus. Go see the gym, their theater space. It's just gorgeous.
Well, that's true. That's a great partnership to have in this area. So it's a question we always ask our guests, Alberto, is what our listeners can do to support your efforts, pretty much tied to something that Elena was saying. Should we contribute? Should we volunteer? Should we advocate? Should we do everything that and more? What can we do?
I think that truly contributions would be very helpful. If you go to our website, we do have a QR code. I have resources that are limited in terms of what we get at USD because we have really great ideas and we have really important support startup funds to get things done. But then after that, you're kind of on your own. So you have to really hustle. And so we always could use more support. That would be not only for what we do with the bus, but also with what we do with the museum. We're always looking for volunteers. We only have a staff of about 3 or 4 people. That's why we're only open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Get to know the community. I mean, don't just come out to eat food, but also come out and learn about what the neighborhood is about. It's, that's the first neighborhood in San Diego. It's the oldest neighborhood in San Diego. It has one of the richest histories because of redlining, and we had a very multi-ethnic community up until 1950. There was a dentist by the name of Kenbro who wouldn't be allowed to practice his dentistry outside of that community, so he brought in the NAACP, and that's the first time that things opened up in San Diego. So it's a very important history that I think needs to be highlighted, and that's sort of my passion with regards to what we're doing with the museum. That's the idea of the podcast, so then that way we can document this very rich history.
No, we're with you there, shoulder to shoulder. Lynn, any other questions?
No, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do they get a hold of you, Alberto?
Pulido at sandiego.edu, or look us up at sandiego.edu/ES. And the Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center, I think it's just CPMCC, and you'd find it without any issues. And come out and check out our bus.
Yeah. No, we'd love to check out the bus. And then we'd love to offer you a return appearance on our Spotlight show. Bring in some of the families or the kids or the whomever that have benefited from what you're doing. And we always love to hear from those folks that certainly have gained some new hip to their hop and all that business based on what you're doing.
Well, you're going to have to get in line because Elena's already been doing that.
Okay. Yes, that's true. All right, we'll figure out something.
I think they have complete control. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we've done some great stories.
We have,
they even made me speak Spanish.
Did they? Okay,
yeah.
Very good. We'll see if we can come up with a different angle. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We are here at the lovely Jacobs Institute for Innovation Education podcast studio, or podcast studio west as it is. The Institute is located at the USD School of Leadership and Ed Sciences. Been honored to have on the show with us Dr. Alberto Pulido, Chair and Professor of Ethnic Studies at USD, Director of Turning Wheel, and the Vice Chair of the Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center. And I'd be having an understatement of the world if I didn't say it was an absolute pleasure having you as my co-host, Elena Gomez.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.
I hope you've enjoyed it, and we too hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.